Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 145th episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I am the returning Travis Snail.
I am the Scranton Strangler, Dylan Muss.
What the fuck?
The Office, you know?
I'm a can't box of pizza, Taylor Field.
Wait, say that one more time? Can't box of pizza?
Can't box of pizza.
I've been gone for a month and your nicknames aren't any better.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, you know, the pizza I just had, it was not boxed properly.
You want to explain to the people?
No, that's not fair. It was in the box.
Fair enough. My pizza I ordered, they delivered it, and inside, it was folded.
Yeah, it was messed up. It was more. Don't kick over that water, Travis.
What if I do?
Then your next pizza.
Yeah, the pizza looked quite soupy.
It was like soup.
But
I slurped it.
But Taylor didn't want anyone to have to work more.
He could have got a free pizza, but because Taylor's all shy, he's like, oh, I won't call him.
You know what? Then we would have
over.
delayed the cast. It just would have been logistical errors.
I was
here,
thinking about
there,
the
and
fans,
over
you
there.
know?
He was thinking about the fans. Yeah.
We did not get the fans at the exact time, so there would have been no delay.
We
I
don't
did.
normally do that. No, we're not good at that.
But we thank you for tuning in whether you want to hear talk about news or pizza.
Yes.
I think you guys did a good job carrying the load. Sharing the load. Yeah, I'm back pretty much full time. I gotta give a big shout out. I joke a bunch about it all the time. We do a mobile cast. I did a bunch on SummerSlam, but I gotta give a shout out to Emily. She's the mother of my child. Love my life. She was the one that told me you can go back. Luckily we have an angel of a daughter. She's kicking ass, taking care of the baby. So I was like, oh, I don't know,
Nice.
Can I go back yet? I don't know. She's like, don't worry, it's fine. I got it. She's pretty much just kicking me out, get out of here. But no. So thank you very much. I love you very much, Emily. Let's get into some news. It's been a while. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, not for me. Not for Taylor.
No.
But for you.
Nothing's changed. Nothing changed. Do we have any? Quickly, let's do any. You guys did Death Note review. Let's do some housekeeping. Death Note review is did Saturday.
Yeah, we did.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of that movie, I guess? Quickly.
Terrible. This is their review. Other than Taylor, I agree with all they said.
Nice.
I made some good points, though.
You did, but he's still. I won't spoil it. Go listen to your review. My review's my score would be take 7.5 away from that.
Wow. 0. Right?
Oh, you spoiled it now. I wasn't trying to. I was trying to speak in code.
That was not a code whatsoever. Would you actually give it a 0?
No, I'd give it a 1.5 because I like Willem Dafoe. I did, and I think actually cinematography was good and music was all right, but it's just terrible movie. Don't watch it. But they guys think you should watch it. If you do, check out their review.
I think it was good because we had a couple people who have seen the anime and read the manga, and then we have me and Taylor who had no idea, or I knew what it was, but I'd never seen it. So you get a few different perspectives on there.
Yeah.
So definitely check it out.
Yeah. Plus, we had the GeekVerse Gauntlet 6-way title match drop. We're not going to reveal who won it because we're embargoed, even though I am suspended.
Self-embargoed.
I'm suspended for some unbeknownst reason. I'm going to get that later.
Unbeknownst. I like that
Some
word a lot.
later date because
Kyle didn't tell you?
No, he texted me happy birthday, which was great, but then I'm like, hey, why'd you suspend me? And he just sent me a kissy face. That's not an answer. You can't suspend me because I have the balls to say what other people don't. And I'm just frustrated. He should not be running it. You know what? Right now I'm laying down the gauntlet. Kyle, give me the gauntlet. Go right off. Go to fucking Venice Beach. Give it to me. I'm challenging you to a match of some sort. I know I'm suspended. I have no power. I'm just some homeless guy on the street. But I should be running it. Dylan, you delay his title match to next season. Put me in a 6-way. What are you? I think he has an alcohol problem.
Wow. I did not see that coming.
Anyways, we'll get into that later date. Kyle,
We
challenge
probably
lay
won't get
down.
into that. It's a very personal issue, and
Very
he can deal
personal. That's definitely
with it on his own time.
Well, the
Very
line's been
personal.
drawn, so fuck you, Kyle.
If
There's
someone's never tuned into the cast right now, what are these guys talking about? This is not a newscast.
I'll go back and listen. Yeah, I know. We get there. We're like
We're just having fun.
yeah. And then sometime this week, I'm not sure. In the next 2 weeks, Spider-Man Retro and Geek Screwed will be coming out. We're not sure when. We're figuring stuff out because I was with a baby. Dylan's moving, so if we don't know exact dates, forgive us because we're life's a
A
change.
little bit of flux right now.
Yeah, but no, it's not in flux. That great, greasy, geeky news.
Greasy. You know,
I don't know.
I guess that kind of fits. There's a lot of greasy geeks out there. I mean, not on the GeekVerse. No, we all.
No, we're a class.
If someone walks through my door to record and they haven't showered recently, I say, go get out, go have a shower, come back.
You don't offer your shower.
No.
No.
That's,
You don't want that
that's
grease in
some
your
high quality
drains.
glacier water. I'm not going to spend it on some geeks.
Taylor, you feel like you're sitting really far away. You know?
I feel like I am.
Yeah, I'm gonna move the mic because I'm much louder.
That's the
than
nicest thing you've ever done to me.
Okay. Anyways, what do we want to what do we want to start with? Well, I have like a semi like bread and butter for the movie TV spot, but I'd leave it for the end because it's DC stuff. There's a lot because me and Tim are talking about a little bit, but we haven't talked about your opinion, and there's a bunch of new stuff. So, do you guys have any movie TV stuff we could talk about that was like fun bullet points before we dive?
I don't really have much this week. I'm kind of mostly in it for the bread and butter, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Okay, Taylor.
Let me pull up my notes here.
Well, you don't have a sheet today.
He
I
forgot
it. I almost was going to drive home after I picked you up.
It's a good thing you have a backup.
He didn't pick me up. I don't sit in Taylor's car. Anyways, let's start with we just watched. We watched a Punisher teaser.
Yes.
It's 30 seconds. Obviously not too much. It's just kind of like, you know, they're kind of like saying it's coming, but at the same time they're not.
Mm-hmm.
I'll lay a few facts down. They have not given us the date yet. Today, very cool on Twitter, they tweeted out 13 things. They tweeted out a bunch of stuff in Morse code. People figured out it's the episode titles. They did it in Morse code on Twitter. Okay. So very cool. People figured out all the titles, and it was officially confirmed that it is going to be 13 episodes because it was back and forth. Because last year, I think in Comic-Con time, people were saying that like it's going to be a miniseries, and I think I had said like people keep saying that, but it didn't say anywhere like officially. And I know we've been talking about that for a while. If it was 8 or 13. What do you think about the teaser? What do you think about there being no date? And what do you think about being 13 episodes?
Well, 13 episodes for me makes the most sense because obviously Defenders was 8 episodes, but every other solo show was 13. I think one of the reasons Defenders was 8 was for budget reasons. I think they could have done 13 easily.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you have just a solo show, obviously there's a bunch of characters in there, but you don't have the heavy hitters. So obviously, 13 episodes they can afford to do that. I like that they're being secretive about it, I guess.
It's kind of fun.
Just because I know he's not one of the main crew. He's been in Daredevil, obviously, but I mean, there's still kind of like a mystery to him, and so I guess that's fine with me. I mean, I guess we know for sure that it is 2017, and so that's good to see.
Yeah.
To see that.
My Comic-Con theory is wrong. Remember, I said that it might be delayed to 2018, but I'm wrong.
Yeah, it is strange.
Travis didn't told you.
It is really weird what. Like, I guess the way they're marketing this, because if it is coming out within a few months here, like, they dropped, obviously, the trailer at the end of Defenders, and then they have, like, a teaser, like, a week later, 2 weeks later, like, that is even in itself kind of weird.
Well, everybody seems to think November, because that's been the rumored date for, like, the entire year, but
When did like, any TV shows that came out in fall previously, Netflix, do you remember? Like, was there any November drops before? Because I feel like they'd probably try and keep it as consistent as possible.
I'm trying to think back to when we reviewed a bunch of stuff. It's all foggy, but when you guys are, I'll go get the.
It's all foggy.
Yeah.
Karen's in there. I don't know about foggy.
But
with Defenders, but yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun show, and obviously John Bernthal plays the character really well.
We haven't got like a full-on trailer yet, though. Like at the end of Defenders, that's like a minute teaser. Of
that was more of a teaser.
Pounding the concrete, you know, making us cool skulls, and we saw like a bunch of quick flashes. Maybe they might take that approach because we don't really know what the story is yet.
Well, and now that I think about it, like considering the last trailer, I guess it was a teaser as well. That was like 2 weeks ago. Why didn't they just lump these two together? Like, it is really confusing what the path they're taking with marketing this.
Well,
I feel like people are going to forget about it.
My worry is I brought this up to Dylan Offcast, and because lots of trailers and teasers pick up before you release, I don't think they will do this, but I've had this gross gut feeling that makes me want to vomit that, like, I'm going to wake up on a Friday and they're going to tweet out, like, oh, it's streaming right now. Like, that is my only concern with them being so secretive and with this date that they're just going to be like, you can do it. And that's the thing, you could do it as Netflix because the second we got the notification, we'd watch it that weekend, right?
Yeah.
It would suck for us because we like to plan reviews, be like, oh, we're...
Especially when you have to plan 13 hours in one day.
So I'm hoping not, but, like, I just have this weird feeling that they're trying to do this, like, this cool viral marketing to be different. I do think it will be November because I think Defenders came out in August, right? I think September and October, that's like... October, you could kind of push, but
soon.
Why not do November? I think December's a weird time because December is really Christmassy and family, and I don't know if you want, like, the show about a guys whose family's, like, gunned down in front of them. You
Maybe
know?
there's a lot of snow. then it's winter themed.
It could be December, who knows? But, like, also Star Wars is out, so you kind of want to stay clear of that. So,
yeah.
I think November. I think that's when it come out. Before you go, I think, some dates here. Okay, so Jessica Jones came out in November, so it's happened before. Luke Cage was September.
September. Okay, so
Daredevil,
it's kind of just whenever it's ready. It almost.
Yeah, Daredevil. The second season was April. I don't know if I can find the first one, but they are. So it has happened. Even then, Jones and Cage. Jones was in November. Luke Cage was in September. So they've played. I think they're trying to do that now. One in fall and one in.
Yeah.
Even though we got 3 this year, I guess, right? Because Iron
did,
Fist. Yeah. So maybe next year. So we'll get another third. So what do you have? So Taylor, you never ended up watching Defenders, correct?
No, but I finished Iron Fist.
Oh, good. So
If one show to watch, pick on.
Yeah, what is your feelings on all of this, I guess?
He kind of what they're doing reminds me of Black Panther, I feel like. He's thrown into the mix of, like, another character's story, and then you don't really get to know much about him, and then he's getting his own thing later
fair
on.
enough. I was wondering, I'm like, this man, king of his own country, war vet, not really seen the...
Family gunned down.
Yeah, not really. Hey, T'Challa's dad did die in a bomb explosive, so, they got that going for them.
But I like me some Frank Castle. I remember the Punisher movie and Punisher Warzone, those old school 2 movies. This is cool to see him on a TV
Punisher
screen.
Warzone's great.
So I'll
Are you gonna watch this?
This Punisher?
Yeah.
I think this is definitely number 2. I'm gonna watch it.
I think this is like the first Netflix show that's gonna be really not that connected with like the build up and stuff. Like also we have Defender, so there's no more. They haven't announced Defender season 2, so there's no right now big build up to like a big event. I think the shows for a while are gonna be their own thing and then they'll build up. But this is the most removed. I also think as the teaser, I've watched a couple times, the very first one. And people revealed shout out to Marvel Zombie Dude, one of our follower and fans on Twitter, because he's just like, he's like, Punisher's like his Batman for him, like he just knows everything. So I sent him the titles, I'm like, what do all these mean? And he says they referred to a lot of his stuff that happens in the past when he was in war. So I think we're gonna get a lot of flashbacks to war. I think too we'll probably get something like remember in Daredevil season 2, Black Jacket or whatever, like tied to the war. Remember that villain he was after? So I think we could get that where you see someone in the past and then like villains kind of coming back with demons from his past. So I didn't mention one thing. The 13 episodes I like, and I actually do think that he'll warrant it, because the good thing about Punisher is like he just tears through bad guys, he kills people, so it's not, I don't know if they'll necessarily be one big bad and just him kind of taking down like a bunch of different mobsters.
That'd
so
be pretty cool, too.
They did say this weekend at this like Marvel presentation, just like a low-key thing for like just for like I think shareholders room, they did say another Marvel hero will be appearing in the series.
Like one that's already been?
They haven't said that. They just said another Marvel hero. So people have been speculating if it's one of the Defenders, or lots of people are saying Moon Knight, obviously.
That was just what popped in my head for some reason.
People are saying that a lot because like Frank Castle deals with some weird people, but like they don't have too much ties, but
that would be cool.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea, because it's that'd be kind of fun if you look at Punisher, like he started in Daredevil and got his own show if someone did that as well, but I don't know who, like that's if we take out like an unknown person, I don't know who out of the shows would be.
Well, it's got to be Daredevil, because he's the only one who actually knows him.
Yeah,
right?
Where Daredevil ends up, I don't think.
There could be a cool scene of like Punisher ripping through a bunch of people and he's like just shooting Luke Cage and it's not working. That could be funny.
That could actually be fun. They bump into each other for an episode after the same monster.
I feel like him and Iron Fist, I don't know if I want to see that interaction. I feel like that'd be
I think a lot of people want to see that just to hope that he might get gunned down by Punisher. Him and Jones could be fun, actually. That'd be a lot of fun.
That could be cool.
I think 100% it's not Daredevil, though, because what happened in Defenders, I think that'll be...
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
One quick question for you, Travis. Do you think Claire... She's been in every other Netflix show. She's the only common denominator of all of them.
No, because I think I called it in our Defenders review. I think she's now going to be strictly just a Luke Cage character now. Okay. I think from now on. You don't need that connective tissue. Maybe he guns her down.
Yikes. And she has to patch herself up?
She always has to do that, Taylor, do you have any other TV or movie news? Oh, there's not that much news lately, to be honest. It's summer, people are laying low, like we have a lot of like news for the bread and butter, but do you have anything TV news to shout out?
TV news, Game of Thrones.
So try not to spoil too much, because some people may not watch it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It was just yesterday.
So how did you feel? This is the penultimate season. Next season is they don't know when it's coming out. Could be 2019, that's really fucking frustrating.
It was very weird having a very short season, first of all, but I feel like they expressed just enough of what they needed to.
What's up, Greg? Talking about Game of Thrones, no spoilers.
I feel like all the other seasons had many more episodes, but this one it was shorter, which sucks. But at the same time, they got just what they needed to across, and there was no room for messing around or whatever. They tied off stories, I think, very well, and then they narrowed it down in the direction that we wanted to head in, and I think we all got to see a lot of things that we've been waiting for the past 6 seasons.
Yeah, no, I agree. Which, Greg, tell me what jersey you want me to wear, because I'm not sure. We have someone on our live chat, black and blue and number 1. I don't know if I'm catching it. I'm a little slow these days. But with Game of Thrones, yeah, the way I was talking about with somebody, I've always really, really liked the show. I've gone from liked to really liked it. Loved to really liked it. There's some seasons I think were a little slow for me, but it was in the sense of I thought they made some choices that wouldn't pan out and pay off, because TV shows do that, and they did. I always describe it as like, the first season is like your Fellowship of the Ring, where it's like, okay, you meet all these characters and they're going on their quests, and then at the end they're like splitting off doing their own things. The thing that I always had a problem with was like the Two Towers was the season like 2 to 5, like, and that's where it's like, that sounds great, but it's like Two Towers is only 2.5 hours. Game of Thrones, that's like a good 40 hours. So for me, it was like sometimes just so much build up. It was like, that's what last season was good for. That was like the beginning of Return of the King, and now we're doing this. And yeah, it's great. Like, if any show can make you cheer for incest, that's an achievement in TV filmmaking. Like, you don't think you're gonna want it, but you just do, and it's a little weird. But you know what? The characters are great. I'm very excited for next. Like, I loved the 1 and 2 season. The rest of them I really liked. It sounds bad, but like, some of them I watched like 3 to 4 episodes at a time, and others I was really into it. So like, those ones in the middle I really liked, and then last year and this year I've loved. And like I said, I don't know if it's in my top 10 for shows, but it's for best shows it would be, just the quality of it, and I'm very excited to see how it all ends.
So that being said, with how it all ends, are you afraid that by some fluke chance we could get a Dexter kind of bad ending, or do you feel like it'll actually be good?
See, this was my problem. I think I brought up in a long time ago when we did like a fun little like debate episode. The thing people I think forget about Dexter is it wasn't like just the last episode was bad. Like the show had taken like gone downhill from
a lot of bad choices.
Yeah, so it wasn't like, if it was Dexter 1 to 4 and then season 5 like ended on this point, you'd be like, man, it really took a dive. Where like it was already declining, so like Game of Thrones would have to do an outrageously bad ending to like really decline. Even if the last scene sucks, you're like, that doesn't make any sense. I think because the rest of the quality's been so good, they're fine. Where Dexter was like, you had 3 seasons, you had Lumen, you had a bunch of weird stuff going on, you had the fucking religion killer, which was like, I don't know, like you had a lot of turds in there, so it won't be the same. Where Dexter you kind of knew was, it kind of had to be put out of his misery. So I ain't wearing no Newton jersey. Come on, Greg, get out of here. But yeah, I'm very excited for whenever it comes out. So is that it for that?
That's it for that.
We don't have much. Okay, so now we haven't done a bread and butter, Ross. We're gonna have bread and butter. We have bread and butter coming up. We're gonna do one about the future of Xbox in the future, but I want to wait till Jessica's here, because she's actually another owner as well. So
okay.
Just because get some sort of what word am I looking for?
Bias?
Kind of.
Well, get her and Kyle, because they're both Xbox owners.
Kyle doesn't have much to say for you.
No.
I think he has like 1 game.
He has his FIFA. He's happy, But what we're talking about is DC. Obviously, they've gone through. I'm gonna preference this with everything. I'm gonna lay some stuff out. Most of the stuff is speculation to like backstage reports and everything. So none of it's confirmed. I listen to a lot of podcasts. So many people are just like, oh, DC's throwing stuff at the wall. They don't know what they're doing. You got to remember that this is probably like they're having meetings talking about like what we should do. And there's some fucking like rat in the room, like leaking this all. Like they're not announcing all this stuff. It's just coming. So last week I did a thought bubbles, but there's been more to it. So last week a report came out that there's supposedly this banner that's going to start films that are going to be, you have the DCEU, so everything from Man of Steel and to Justice League, and then it's supposedly this side banner of films that will be just one-offs, or they call them Elseworlds in comics, or the Multiverse, like stories that are characters but are different takes. And they've said that apparently it's going to start with the Joker. Martin Scorsese's producing it. So, and this is all rumor speculation right now, but Taylor, you talked a little bit about it, so you can start and add more upon that. But you've had a little time to marinate on. What do you think about the potential of this, of having a DCEU, a cinematic connected universe, and then movies that are offshoots off on their own? Something like, and they did confirm that Batman movie is still in the universe. So right now it's just this Joker one, like kind of flying about right now. Like, oh, could this happen? Could this not? But what do you think? Because you heard a little bit about last week. There's been some clarification, which is good, but not much because they're playing close.
That was a fun cast that we did, But I have to say, like, this is something that you have to play very carefully with. I mean, Marvel doesn't need to worry about doing that. They know how to handle their situation with their heroes and their movies and their spin-offs. But when you are establishing a series and a franchise with all these different characters coming together, sharing the same story, and then you haven't even finished that, and yet you're already talking about these same characters, but with different actors on completely different universal adventures and stories, that makes it confusing for the average moviegoer, I find.
But can I stop you there when you said the universe movies haven't even ended? I don't think there's an end point though for the Justice League BVS movies. Like, we even look at Marvel, they're like, yeah, Infinity War is the ending of this chapter, and then it's like, oh, and we're doing Captain Marvel, Ant-Man. So like, that's the only thing I don't feel like there's an ending.
I will change then to not even really starting. Yes, we got the prequel origin story with Wonder Woman, sure, that's great, and we got Superman, Man of Steel, whatever. But then Aquaman, Cyborg, Flash, Batman, all these characters, I feel like we still need to... They have barely begun, to be honest, and yet they're already in talks about starting up like a different Batman movie. Well, same universe, but like a Joker movie. Like, we barely got any Joker. He's in one movie.
For good reason.
For good reason, but... I mean...
Well, there's kind of two sides to it.
Because I haven't heard anything from you yet, because we haven't talked about it, so I'm excited.
I will say that initially I think it's a great idea, and I'll explain why in a second. But
wow! I thought I'd be the only one.
for one thing, like you have to think about the casual viewer. While yes, it's going to be confusing if they're seeing this new Batman movie, for example, and it's like, what? That makes no sense. It's like, compared to BVS or, if they do other Batman movies, like it'll get confusing. But you have to keep in mind too that at this point, there's so many movies in the MCU, so if you think about like a casual viewer who maybe missed a couple, they might be like really confused on what's happening in the story as well. So I think
Civil War.
I think either way, that's going to happen. Yeah. If someone hasn't seen Civil War, for maybe they're just like, oh, I didn't like Captain America, so I'm not going to go see that. Obviously, they'd have to be really out of the loop for that to happen. But let's say they go into Infinity War and they're like, what the hell is all like? I don't understand why these characters are doing that. Like, that is certainly a possibility as well. I don't know which one's worse in terms of confusing for like the casual fans, but I think either way you're gonna get it just because of the MCU having so many, and because obviously DCU is going in like a really non-linear order now, I guess I'd say.
My thinking of it is like, it's pretty black and white, but do you agree that if the movie's good, I don't think people are gonna care?
Exactly.
Like, we didn't love Rogue One, but Rogue One made a bunch of money. It was still like, they didn't really make it clear that this was like a before thing. It didn't matter, and people bring up all the time that Star Wars, so I get that. That's a good argument. But I just feel like, if it's a good quality movie, that will stay, like, that will go past the, oh, what is this Joker, and like, what does this mean? And I actually don't think the film's gonna be called like The Joker. Like you look at like Man of Steel or Dark Knight, they'll have that sort of title where it's something like, yeah, it's a Joker movie, but it's not like upright in your face, like Joker the Kid, Yeah.
Joker the Kid.
Yeah, but do you think this is the good way? If this is the first film, do you think this is a good way to start with like Joker as the character? Do you think that it is maybe something? Because some people said, why would you still start with this character when you have like Leto? We'll talk about later in a second. Leto has some movies announced, but like Leto's coming back for a bunch of movies. You have this, so it's like I guess some people suggested like do these offshoots, but maybe not start with someone so main in the DC.
I think the idea is great, but obviously, like Taylor said, like it has to be done right. So I think it's strange. I don't know all the news like you do, but I know that there's like various Joker things on the plate right now, and I think that will cause issues. But I think the idea of having like a separate universe, I guess it's not even really a separate universe, but just having standalone movies as well is a great idea, because obviously DC's been trying to catch up to Marvel, and while they may not have done it as gracefully or taken enough time, they're still like at the point where, okay, now we have Justice League, and so they've already reached like their Avengers, I guess you could say, and they did it a hell of a lot quicker, but whatever, like it's the same thing in the end. Whereas this gives them a great chance to go, like, because obviously in MCU we've seen a lot of similar movies, but we've seen them go in different directions as well, and so these offshoot movies are a perfect chance for them to do that, because they don't have to care about like continuity, and obviously we've seen that their forward thinking isn't always necessarily there, like Marvel, where they're planning like 100 movies in the future.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I just thought about that. Like you say that with Justice League, I think it's because we haven't got like all the characters and seen the main members, because the time from Iron Man to Avengers, from Man of Steel to Justice League, they're both 4 years, which is funny to think about it. If you think about like Iron Man... Iron Man.
Man of Steel really throws a wrench in it, though, right?
But that's technically the start of it, right? Because
it is.
Because like Zod is in BVS and they talk like you see like Wayne stuff. It's the same way as the first Iron Man when we do a retrospective. You'll see there's not that much.
But what was the time jump from Superman to the next movie?
BVS when BVS came out last year. So what is that? 2 years?
Yeah,
2013.
So that's a lot more than MC. Because didn't MCU start with like 2 movies a year?
Oh wait, sorry, we're in 2016. My bad. No.
We're in
2017.
Are we?
2017.
Are we actually?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so then it's the same. It's the same amount of time because BVS came out in 2016, so 3 years.
Yeah.
After Man of Steel, and then Squad came out. Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
came out.
as opposed to Iron Man to what was the second Iron Man 2? I guess there was like the Hulk as well, but
yeah, it was the same. Actually, BVS took more time because Iron Man 2 came out 2 years after Iron Man. So it's funny that like it is the exact same amount of time, but it just feels so. It feels rushed. It feels like it's only been a few years, but I think it's just because we're so quickly like, here's Batman v Superman, here's Aquaman, here's blah blah blah. So, and that's the thing, people like you when you're bringing up like, yeah, they're going there fast, but people might forget that almost all these movies are really successful. Like they just said today, or not today, but a couple weeks ago, that like Wonder Woman's now officially like the biggest origin story of all time as far as money wise. So it just surpassed the original Spider-Man. So it's like, and that's good because that was a critic success, but like. We'll talk about Leto in a second, but you look at Squad, everyone's going like, oh, why? Like, I'm not for it, but everyone's like, oh, why would you announce a Squad 2? Like, why would you do that? Like, it's not the greatest movie, it's pretty bad, but like, money speaks, you know, like, look at all the Transformers storyteller, but like, they keep pumping those out because they make money, and that's all that matters in that sort of town, and I think that's, for me, another thing too, is with this Joker origin, I could be proven wrong, but I don't think it's going to have some sort of big budget. I could see the town being the bigger budget as far as if they get a big actor and like a Martin Scorsese, but like I don't think you're going to have Joker in the middle of like a portal that's trying to take over the world, right? And they've said that it's going to be like a gritty, grimy set. Takes place in the 80s, so obviously even technology is going to be lower. So it's like
they said it's gritty and grimy. Did they say grimy?
Something, I think so. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100%, but like.
They're like, it kind of rhymes with gritty.
well, you remember these are people reporting on it, so they're like probably taking like buzzwords and whatnot. But they don't have to. These can be smaller stories, and they can have like a bigger return. Same thing as Logan. Logan had like a smaller budget and bigger return. So
I think it's just like they're taking a different direction with it, and I think that's good because obviously the Marvel route is we're making all these movies. They all are linear. With there's like flashbacks and stuff like that, but overall, like it makes sense, and clearly they've done a lot of forward thinking and planning when all these other characters are going to come in, and then bring it all together with Civil War, bring it all together again with Infinity War. Like they're planning it out heavily, and DC like it just seems like it's going back and forth every week. I don't know what the reason for that is, but I think that this is
cocaine.
There probably is a lot of cocaine going on.
That Wonder Woman money.
That Wonder Woman, it really went to their heads. But yeah, it's just a, I don't know. I like that it's a different take on it rather than just making each movie linearly like as the story progresses.
Well, I think that's to me one of the biggest worry in some people that like once you get in this universe thing, you can't really go off the cuff and do stuff. And you look at Marvel, like sometimes they get like Black Panther as a big director, but most time they get people that are relatively unknown or have done a few movies because it's like the guy who did Doctor Strange did Sinister and that was it, like because they get people that like they want talented directors, but they also want people that are gonna work with them and not want to be like, hey, I want to take this over and do this. So like, no, like look at Star Wars. We just saw that with Han Solo, right? Yeah. They got their directors out because they had different visions. Where like I always bring this up, and I'll ask you guys in a second, but people, I'm so sick and tired of everyone just saying like, oh, I don't want to see a Joker origin story. Like Joker, my favorite line that I keep hearing from people is saying that they go, oh, him not having origin is the best part about the character. You don't love it. Like, the best part about the character is his character, is his personality. Him not having an origin, it just makes me so mad. Just like those are like kind of like poser fans. I know they're not, but it's just like just this one little nugget doesn't define it. But people go like, oh, like we can't have an origin. Like that would be too weird. But it's like one, you have Martin Scorsese who wants to do it, and that's the thing where it's like that's what this is based off in comics. They're Elseworlds. They're what ifs. Like they've done things of like. I don't like I'm trying to think of like a good what if, but like Red Sun, for example. That story is about what if Superman landed in the Ukraine instead of America, and he's raised up on those morals and everything like that. And that's where you do them when people are like, oh, I don't want an origin. They're not telling. They've even said it's not Leto's origin. It's like it's a what-off thing. If you don't want to see it, you don't have to see it. And even if you don't like it, give it a chance. But that's what I kind of like this. It's a one-off thing. And like before you go, the other example, I didn't use it on my solo cast, but it's like, let's say in 10 years, Nolan's done a bunch of stuff. He's won Oscars. He wakes up one and he's like, man, I have a great idea to do a continuation of the Dark Knight series. And if he goes to Warner Brothers, they go, hey, Nolan, we'd love to do that because we know the movie will get reviewed well. Could get nominated for Oscars. It'll make billions of dollars. But it doesn't fit into our universe, so you gotta go away. Where this opens up the door to him or anybody like wanting to come in and play with it. And that's a good thing. If this Joker origin story comes out and it's bad and awful, it's almost better that it's not connected, because that's the problem for me with Squad is, like, you know, Taylor semi likes him, and I know Greg, you are in our live chat right now, you like him, but like a lot of people don't like Leto's Joker, and with it being continuity, he's there from now on. All these movies they're announcing with Harley Quinn, like that's our Joker. We have no choice. But with this origin, they could try to take a swing. If it sucks, whatever, you move along. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't. That's even better because it doesn't affect your main continuity. So.
Nice.
I want to throw. Did you have something?
Well, I was just gonna say I think this is a really cool opportunity for them to delve into some more like obscure stories, right? Because obviously you can if you're following like the linear pathway, you can do some like more obscure stuff by going into origin stories and flashbacks and stuff. But if you aren't like set on a certain timeline, you could just go into like some really weird comics and just explore something different and then it also sets them apart from Marvel, because Marvel isn't doing that, and right now they're not set up to do that, and we're already conditioned to the fact that like, okay, every Marvel movie fits into like this very set timeline, and we're like, we expect that now.
Yeah.
So obviously they could follow DC's path and do that as well, but for right now, I think this is a really great opportunity for DC, and I mean, at the end of the day, the most important thing is making good movies, and they haven't really done that consistently, but I don't know, I'm hopeful.
Well, that's the thing I keep bringing up. I think I did bring this up in my soul cast, but it's like it bears repeating that. Like, I think no one really understood the idea of like crossing over stuff until it happened, right? And now you look at, they're talking about one day doing like a Transformers G.I. Joe universe. You have the Dark universe. You have obviously the DC universe, and that's like once Avengers happened, it changed everything. I don't know if this would change everything, but I said this before, like. If this is super successful and Marvel sees this, and like I said, they may want to make a Blade movie, but they don't think he would fit. It's like, well, we could just do a solo movie, Like, this is, I think everyone is, like, poo-pooing the idea, like, really early. And maybe it's because DC's track record right now. So, like, granted, I can't say that you're wrong there, but it's like, I kind of like that they're trying something else different. Like, I like that, like I said, they could do this, and people would go, oh, like, that's something cool. Like, we could try this, like something, even though it would never happen, but Star Wars, they're so connected to, like, oh, we gotta do spin-offs of our characters. I think this would even push someone like them to, they wouldn't do something that's not canon, but something like, oh, let's do something way in the past that has nothing to do with what's going on now, And that's where, if this is successful, it shows, I think it shows people, well, if it's a good movie, well, one, just go see it, but two, will probably be a bit more smarter, because I don't think it's like, I think it will be a little confusing when you first hear it, but I think once you lay it out, you just say, no, this is its own separate movie by itself. Like, I think people can get it.
Yeah.
Like, I understand people say you could get confused, and maybe that's the case if we end up, like, a bunch of different Batmans and this and that, but I think it's kind of something like James Bond. People just kind of accepted that, like, okay, this is a guy playing Bond now. It's a different story. Like, let's move along. So
yeah. Exactly.
Taylor, you have anything more to add on those fronts?
No, you guys made a lot of good points. So
do you? Because Still and I are more than so. Do you think people will get too confused? Like, do you think this can work and coexist? Like, Joker comes out, let's say in a year. Joker comes out, and it's just called The Joker. Comes out next year, a year after Squad. Do you think it works? Like, do you think it is a well-oiled machine? Because you seem a bit more like apprehensive about it.
The only analogy I can really think of is like, you're in a committed relationship, okay? You're engaged, you're married to this girl.
Boy.
You started down like 5 years ago when Man of Steel came out, or 3, I don't know. Like,
that's where you met.
That's where you met. Met Man of Steel. That's where you started. You're going this journey, and you're gonna get to the wedding at Justice League. That's it. But you know what? You see this other girl walking by, and you're like, that Joker origin story. That's what I'm all about. And so you sneak away and you're like, I'll be right back. Don't you worry, I'll be there for the wedding day. But I'm going to go have some fun with this.
But you know what the difference is? Wow, actually. But you know what the difference is? This is the girl that you met at Man of Steel saying, hey, I'm fine if you go have some fun with that Joker origin story, as long as you're coming back to us as well.
If that's the case, then you got a hell of a girl there.
Because I think this is another thing. This is another thing I didn't bring up as a good opportunity. Where, okay, there's many people, someone like myself. I hate harping. I hate harping on it. I hate Jared Leto's Joker. Whatever they announce, I'm not excited for it. But this lessens the blow if a Joker film comes out and I like it. And I go, okay, I don't like what Jared Leto's going over here, but it's like, when we order pizza, you guys get something with peppers. It's like, not really for me, but it's like, oh, I have this exact same version, but without peppers, and maybe it's feta instead of peppers. It's like, I'll eat this, and I can be happy that you guys are enjoying the peppers. Instead of if it was just a pepper
What
pizza.
if you get a scene that shows the origin of the damage tattoo? Wouldn't that be something?
I don't want that. I don't want that.
What if you only get that one off that one special night with this Joker origin, and then that's it? You don't get to have any more nights, no more sequels, and then you have to keep making memories with your Jared Leto at the wedding day and all that stuff.
But if it's successful, there's two things. They would go, okay, that was successful. Let's do, like I said, a sole Batman movie with the Joker, as a villain.
It's a big if, though.
No,
big
it
if.
is,
It
but
could be a totally different Joker again.
But that's fine though. That's what I mean. Like it's like I compare it to like a Hamlet. Like we've had enough versions of Joker. Keep going. Like there's a Joker on TV right now in Gotham. Like people. That's the other thing. People are bringing this up like it's such a big deal. We literally have a man playing Flash on TV, and there's Flash in the movie. And like we got over that really quickly, But
True.
This is the thing. The Joker origin. If that makes money, it's not gonna just go in. And here's like my second question: what happens if, let's say, they do this and they do a Batman movie that's set in a different universe? What happens if those movies are financially better and critically better? Because some people have had this theory about, what if this is like a way of the DCU, because Justice League has all these rumors that it's unwatched, blah, blah, blah. I'll judge it when I see it. What if this is a way, what if this universe or these spin-offs are kind of working out? Do you think there's a chance that they kind of like make that the priority and the DCEU like kind of the back?
It's just a cop-out then.
Yeah, it is, but then if it's more successful, why not do it, Like,
yeah, if it's more successful, then do it. But I just feel like, why be so cheesy and snaky in the first place? We established this whole series, but you know what? Secretly, we know it's not doing so good, so we're gonna kill it very slowly. Like, we're just gonna put the pillow on top of it and just take our time.
My thing is, I don't think that'll happen. Like, there's still, if you still have Justice League 3, people are still going to go see that.
Yeah.
If you have, like, a main, in the DCEU main series, Batman, people are going to go see that anyway.
But what I'm saying, what if they do this Batman in the DCEU, and then they do, like, Batman a Long Halloween, and it's you got Ben Affleck over here, and you got John Hamm over here. And everyone's like, man, that John Hamm one was so much better. Like, I wish they'd make more of that instead of just one.
Yeah, I think there is potential for them to walk themselves into a corner with that.
Because
the thing is, they just have to time it right. Like, if you have two Batman movies in the same year, that is a fucking awful idea.
Yeah, I don't think the same year.
If you wait a couple of years,
3,
then at least 2 years, maybe if not 3, then it could work.
Because I brought up, I wonder if...
What if they just use the main series as, like, team-ups now, though? Like, what if that's just what they do instead? Like, what if they don't have a solo Batman movie, and instead they just put him in, like, BVS 2 or Suicide Squad 2.
I suggest that detail. Like, I think someone in the universe like Wonder Woman, you'll definitely see solo movies of her, but what if Batman in that universe was just in the team-up movies and he wasn't in the solo movies? I think that would lessen the blow. The other thing I wonder, too, is from like an actor's ego standpoint is, so you have someone, I keep remembering, you have someone like Leto, and obviously mixed to bad reaction, but what happens if, Suicide Squad's still looming overhead, this Joker origin story comes out, and everyone just, like, loves this Joker? Like, that's the only thing I wonder, too. Like, you feel like
people... What if it goes the other way?
Yeah, like, what if people, like, love, like, let's say it's Taylor Field, he's casting the origin story. Everyone's like, man, I really, like, that's my worry for them, even though I would love it. Let's say, okay, Suicide Squad 2's in production, it comes out 2020, and this Joker origin comes out 2019. And that comes out, and everyone loves Taylor Field as a Joker. And the whole time you see Suicide Squad previews and you see Jared Leto, you can just see the YouTube comments of, man, I wish it was this Joker. Like, I wish it wasn't him.
Yeah.
That's the other risk you have, too, is like
But doesn't that already happen? Like, I bet there's people out there who are saying, oh, man, if only Heath Ledger was in Suicide Squad.
But there's no option for it, right? Because he's not alive, he's not in the movies, where this is like, because you know what happens.
What
like,
if you take, I don't know, another Joker then? There's been a bunch of Jokers.
But I mean, like, as a current one, you
Yeah.
can see people working the theory in their head of, like, man, they could just flashpoint it and bring in Taylor Field as the Joker, and let's just ignore it. You know, like, that's the thing where it's like,
It's true.
you've never seen a company really create competition for itself, though. So it's the same thing where it could work, but I could see Leto just being like, what the fuck? Like, I keep getting mentioned on Twitter about, like, how much Taylor Field's better than the Joker. Like, I'm the Joker. Like, and something will probably help. I do feel it's kind of like a little bit of a slap in the face to him, even though I'm not a big fan of his performance, that, like they're like, we're doing a Joker origin story, but, like, you're not gonna be in the movie. Like, it feels kind of weird, you know? Especially with his experience with Squad. Like, I think...
I'm just picturing, like, Letters just, like, chilling. He goes on Twitter, and he sees, like, Joker movie with... And, like, it's not him.
Yes!
And he, like, checks his phone. He's like, I didn't get a call. Like, what is this?
Well, no, he sees the headline first, and he's like, yes, I'm gonna do
Yeah.
an origin. And like, what is this, like, different actor? Well, that's the thing, and I guarantee you, because these aren't announcements, they're reports that you're just seeing these. So, like, I'm all the way still for it, but I still think there's a chance of risk. Like, I think they gotta really pull it off well. And like you said, they can't have 2 Batman films a year. I think they have to time it out. They have to strategically plan, which DC's not been the greatest, but they have a new person running it. It's Jeff Johns, who's involved in comics. He's one of the best comic writers, which makes sense with this. He was partly behind Wonder Woman, so this could be an idea of his. It's like, hey, we do this in comics. Like, let's do this here, you know? So, do you have anything to note on the more extended, or the whole universe? Because Taylor, you were smiling. Are you just seeing yourself as the Joker? And
I'm
like,
thinking myself as a Joker. I'm like, I'd love to be a Joker. I'd just show
It'd be
up.
great.
I'd show up
I'd
Jared
love to see
Leto.
that.
Well, that's kind of what we're talking about, Greg. He said, what are the chances of setting up multiverse? I think that's what this is. This would be different universes. And I could see, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that when we get to Flashpoint, if there's another actor's Joker or Batman, that they go, hey, would you like to come over here and play in this sandbox too? And if it's that case where...
The day when they have Batman versus Batman, now that's a day I would be on.
Joker v. Joker.
Nah.
It's like a Michael Fassbender playing the flute to Michael
Oh,
Fassbender.
man. Yeah, I'd pay to see that. Just to
God,
movie
what a
that.
fucking garbage movie.
So, the other thing that they were talking about, too, that a bunch of stuff came out that apparently Leto and Margot Robbie, they're in 3 different things. So, the things right now is Suicide
The
Squad.
ring. They're in the ring.
Jerry Leto climbing out of the TV. So, it was Suicide Squad 2, Gotham City Sirens, which is apparently last, and then a Harley Quinn versus... well, they don't know if it's a first movie and Joker movie. There's been talked about it could be like a romance movie. I'm not sure. Taylor, you talked a little bit about it. Do you have anything more to add on that? I know you don't have much. I have one thing
Wow.
more. Well, he was on the cast and something broke.
Shots,
Oh,
how's that
God.
feel? Great sound effect.
I thought that you confirmed that the Harley Quinn versus and Joker movie was Gotham City Sirens.
No, apparently it's a separate thing.
It's a separate thing. Oh,
Yeah.
back to that again. Okay.
Yeah.
Back to that.
You know, it's too much Joker. I mean, he doesn't need to be in Gotham City Sirens.
No.
I mean, I feel like he really doesn't even need to be in Suicide Squad 2. I mean,
No.
and
He doesn't really need to be in any of these movies, to be honest.
no, he doesn't.
No.
I mean, not even in Harley Quinn versus Joker.
She just kills him off for the scene. She's stuck in the movie
Yeah.
or whatever.
I mean, Harley Quinn can be in all of them. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, Gotham City Sirens. I would very much like to see that. I think that'd be an awesome spin-off with Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn. I think it'd be super cool, and like maybe a couple mentions of other characters here and there. And then I think Suicide Squad 2. I'm so game for that because I mean I can't remember the last time I've seen Will Smith in a sequel before. So
Men in Black.
I'm Legend.
Men in Black. You're right.
I'm glad, you got the exclusive coffee.
After Earth.
Yeah. Before you continue, before Dylan goes, the thing I have to mention too with this Joker Harley movie, because I've been hearing it so much about people. There's been 2 things I've heard a lot that people are saying. There's a story called Mad Love. It was an animated episode where Harley Quinn was introduced. It was the origin of how her and Joker like got together and they did a comic of it. There's 2 things. One, I've heard a lot of fans say like, I don't want to see that. I've seen that already. You gotta remember, your comic book fans, people like Taylor and Dylan have not seen Mad Love on screen. And 2, the other thing is people bring up, they're like, man, I don't really want them to do that live action because that would show like Joker being this abusive guy and showing like this twisted love romance, and people be like, oh, that would be goals or whatnot, everything like that. If you are a talented filmmaker or writer, the point of that story, the Joker and Harley movie, should be the point of it, unlike Squad, is to show he's a terrible person. This isn't the point of, hey, yeah, you know, like I said, goals, Joker and Harley, like, oh, I want to be like them. And people have been like, oh, if they do a Mad Love movie, like, that'd be, you know, we could get in that territory where, like, little boys are going to grow up and see the Joker hit a woman and think it's okay. The point of it is you're supposed to make it known that this is not okay and that this is a life lesson as far as you're dating a psychopath. You shouldn't be doing that. You know, when people talk about like, oh, they just want to see the Harley that's in the comics right now that broke away from the Joker and she's just a strong, independent woman. One, I would disagree because I feel like that's a boring version of Harley. I'm sorry she is strong and independent, but her best character arcs have been like, turn on the Joker, yeah, but she's a better side character than like this hero. But anyways, that's my opinion. The second thing is she can't be the strong, heroic person if we don't see her like overcome this darkness. And that's my only thing. Just because it's been brought up a lot, I've been hearing from other people. It's just like, oh, you can't do that. Like, people have been like, oh, well, you can't do that, but then you also can't just do this Joker fun, like, and Harley movie. Like, I don't understand. Like, I feel like people are missing the point where it's like, I'm hoping that the filmmaker would do it right enough that you would show, okay, eventually she would make that leap. And like I said, it's not my favorite Harley, but fine, do that Harley when she's the strong and she's an anti-hero. Even though in this universe she's killed a child, sure, let's put her on posters and make her a hero. You know, that's what I mean. That's why I hate when people defend Harley. But it's like, how are you guys, well, I guess you mentioned, but how are you feeling about these three movies? Because you've heard them rumored, and that's why I just had to get that out there before I forgot, because I've just heard all week about like, oh, I don't know if we can make that movie, like, and people have been like, oh, it should be for kids. Like, all these movies are for kids, but something like The Dark Knight is not. And even BVS, I know it was to sell kid toys, and I'm sure kids watch it, but I still don't understand how, like, a 5-year-old could, like, love that movie other than the action parts, you know? Because there's so many parts of just them talking, and it's, like, could be considered boring, you know? Like, yeah, it's for kids, but I don't really understand, like, there's a point where it's not, you know? I don't see a kid getting that much enjoyability out of it, so that was my quick rant.
Good rant. For me, I'm actually going to take it a little bit different. I think this could be too much Harley, and right now, I think I like Suicide Squad. I think she and Will Smith were like the best parts of that movie, and I think Margot Robbie is fantastic. But look at these three movies. So Suicide Squad 1,
It's tough to say.
she was without a doubt like the main character.
Co-lead with Deadshot,
she was the protagonist. She has like the most screen time I would imagine.
She has like an arc, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, you look at Gotham City Sirens, and that's obviously her and two other female characters, but she's likely would be the lead of that.
Yeah.
And then you have Joker versus Harley, where it's just going to be her, like, pretty much the whole movie, you would think. So, while I think she's great, I just think that it's going to be overkill on that character. And if that's like what DC is relying on, is this one character. I know Wonder Woman's out there and stuff like that, but if they're kind of relying on this one character, like, I don't know, it's not going to end well. I think it's just too much. Like, if we get two of those movies in 1 year, that's a lot of that. I know it's like, you know, 2 movies in a year. It doesn't seem like that much, but I don't know. If you think about it relative to like every other comic book movie, I think we could just get maybe too much of the character.
You're not wrong though.
Unless I mean, like, that's the thing. She is good, and I like the character.
Yeah.
So I'm not sick of her yet by any means, but I think it could become too much. And then Joker. I mean, I don't like Jared Leto's Joker. But I actually don't think this is a problem for him, because obviously Joker versus Harley, that'd be a duo thing, like they'd both be in a lot. Gotham City Sirens, I can't imagine that he'd be in it too much. I would think
people said he might be like the antagonist trying to get her back. Like, she's with her friends and he's after her.
Yeah, I think that could run into an issue, but I guess I just don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I'm
mostly because of the guy playing him. But I think if he's just like more, maybe if he's like a smaller character, or you see a couple flashbacks with him or something, like, that's fine. You don't need it, but it's fine. Well, and then if you go with Suicide Squad, he wasn't actually in the first one a whole lot, and obviously there's a lot of talk of like him getting a lot of his scenes cut, and so there's potentially more of him there. If he, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if he was in Suicide Squad 2 as much as he is in the first one, then if you had all three of those movies, that wouldn't be too much Joker.
Well, I'll throw these two things to you. That one, I don't think you're too wrong about Harley Quinn, because Wonder Woman had a movie come out in June, and then she's in Justice League, and she has a big role. I'm not saying we're tired of Wonder Woman, I'm just saying, like, it happens where she had 2 big roles in a movie.
Yeah.
2, is the Joker in too much if somehow he gets incorporated into the sole Batman movie as well, though? Because that's the risk that they've not said, because Matt Reeves is writing it right now. They started over, so you don't know what if his idea is, oh, I really want to tell a Batman and Joker story.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to see it.
The thing is, like, I guess I'm trying to make a case for him, but the thing is, I don't like his take on the Joker, so I really don't want to see him that much.
3 to 4 movies is a lot.
Yeah, if you add even a fourth one, it's like, that is definitely too much of the character, even if he is very, very minor.
He's going to replace Superman in the Justice League.
Yeah, it gives that, like, regardless of whether or not it's him or someone else who I really like like even if it was Heath Ledger, like I don't think that'd be a problem, but that would still be like a lot of one character popping up a lot, and you would like to think that there's more going on in the world than just Joker fucking with everyone.
Then again, we don't ever get tired of seeing Robert Downey, though, you know? Because we like him, and they use him sparingly.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like an insulting thing.
I guess I just, when I think about it, I'm thinking of all the movies that are slotted, and they have to be in order, don't they?
Well, that's what I wonder, because apparently Squad 2 sounds like that's the next one. I would feel like the only reason I'd be fine with these movies if they're like talking like 10-year plan. Like, okay, Suicide Squad comes out, and then in 2 years, 3 years, then Joker and Harley. My worry is just like, with all of them, like all this stuff coming out, that these movies are going to be pretty close together. And like,
I mean, I guess if you think about it, like Iron Man,
Civil War, Spider-Man, but that was about it.
But those are all spaced out. But because remind me, his first, there's 3 Iron Man movies?
Yeah, 2008, 2010, and then I think 2013.
Really? So even those are more spaced out than
because Avengers happened in the middle, remember? So they took a big break there.
So even, I mean, they definitely spaced that character out. Like, he wasn't in Spider-Man that much, but even then, we had, what did we have? We had Guardians, and we had Doctor Strange, and maybe one more. Like, I'm saying in between the last time we saw Iron Man. It was at least those 2, and maybe one more that I can't think of. No, I think that was it.
That was it, yeah, because Logan...
And then before Civil War, I mean, Iron Man 3 was like a while before.
It was Avengers 2 was the last time we saw him, which was the year before. So it was kind of similar.
In between,
it was similar like Spider-Man Homecoming.
But
even then, like,
I mean, maybe they're just doing that for now, and then when they have more characters in the universe, then they can kind of spread that out later, and maybe they're just trying to pimp that out right now because everyone, regardless of whether or not you're a comic book fan, knows who Harley is, know who Joker is, know who Batman is.
The difference is the Joker stuff, it never was Spider-Man and Iron Man. You know, like the Joker stuff sounds like he has big roles in it. The director of Squad like has been on record and said that he regrets not making Joker the villain of Suicide Squad, the first one. We all said like that's probably the route they should have gone. I honestly think that's the route they're going to go for the second one because everyone said, why didn't you just make it like an easy, like Joker's trying to get Harley back? I feel like they're just going to do that now. That leaves in your Joker and Harley movie. And then, because the rumor is the problem is with all these movies, he's been rumored to be in it. It's not been like, oh, he may or not be. It's been like, oh yeah, and Jared Leto is set to return. The good thing is, like we said, these are meetings, so it could just be like, oh, we might have him here, we might have him here, but in the day we'll just pick one or two. You know, but like I said earlier, like it sounds insulting. For me, it's just like, it gives me a headache when I think about it. And I just think about like in the next 5 years we could have 3 to 4 Jared Leto Joker movies, and like I know I harp on it, but like it's gonna give me it's gonna be tough to watch. Like Suicide Squad was exactly so tough to watch with Jared Leto. Like, and I still rewatch the movie because I love Margot Robbie. But anytime he's on screen, he's in my nightmares. My skin crawl. Like he's a talented guy, but like it's so tough. Unless
he gets significantly better quickly, then like there's at least going to be pretty much everyone except for Taylor on the cast who going into these movies we're like, oh, we got to get through this stuff, and I don't know, it's just it already has like a negative damper on the movie going in, and I try to go in it with as least amount of bias as possible, but if he's just in so many movies, like and he's continues to be at the quality he was at in Suicide Squad, and you know, once again maybe it's like, oh, they cut the stuff that would have made him good. I don't know. I mean,
well, that's the thing because
it's so hard to say.
It's not a performance where people are like, like it wasn't the greatest. Like it was like lots of people. There's some people there that loved it. I know or really liked it, but there's definitely more. As I run the GeekVerse Twitter, when the movie came out, it was like a 60-40. Whenever time there's like a Jared Leto thing, like, oh, he may be in this movie, the comments underneath are so negative now. Like they've definitely, and obviously because more people have seen the movie home video and whatnot right now, but like. Do you think there's a chance from your perspective with even him in a big movie, you get the best writing, you think just the same performance? Because I've had this question in my mind too when these movies come out. I don't know if he can like improve for me, you know, like that's if I look, that's my thing, like I want to give him a shot and because I want to like the character. I do not want to like him. I want to enjoy the movies, but I just don't know if like what could it take
there's always the thing of someone figuring out how to play a character. You know, you look at Iron Fist. I didn't like that character a whole lot in the show. I mean, sometimes, but in Defenders, after one more show, I already thought he made a pretty good improvement.
True.
And I don't have any other examples off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's like a lot, like even Robert Downey Jr. You're settling into the character of Iron Man. Obviously, he was good from the get-go, but it's gotten so much better, right? Like you really get into the role of these characters.
I'd say Chris Evans is Cap too. Like I think when he started, kind of, oh yeah, he's good. And now he's like lots of people. He's like their favorite Avenger.
as an actor, you get more time to play with the character, and there's more depth to it, and you have more to work with.
Yeah.
So I am initially negative based off Suicide Squad, but that's all I have really, and that's not a lot. So maybe he'll be amazing.
Maybe. Do we have anything else to end on this bread and butter? Any other facts or any other questions you guys may have or anything like that?
No questions.
Taylor Field, are you thinking?
I'm done with Leto for now. That was a lot of Leto talk.
That was a lot of Leto talk.
Hey, you know,
we're sorry, fans.
On the channel, there's some people that named a show after him. You know, he's very important to the GeekVerse legacy. You know, he's always going to be with us.
Do you think those guys are going to be happy with all that?
I can't wait to hear what they have to say. I've heard rumors that they're going to pitch their own DC What If movies and maybe come up with some ideas.
Wait, who? What?
The Hunka Hunka boys.
Oh yeah, those fucking guys.
Yeah.
Where have they been, eh?
Yeah, they've been.
I guess the ones in
celebrating
the facts
with,
out of the conference room.
Yeah, maybe they're probably celebrating with Warner Bros.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if one of them is the rat who's releasing all this.
Oh yeah,
all these leaks
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was a good debate and a good talk on a good bread and butter we haven't had in a while. That's our movie and TV news. If you like games and video games, stick around because we're going to get some news there. If not, catch you.
He said games and video games. We only talk about video games.
No, I'm talking about board games today. No.
Oh, okay.
I'm
down.
And for movie news, if you are leaving us now, our It review is going to come next week. I'm so excited for that. We're going to be reviewing that right immediately. We're going to be live streaming like we are now. If you not, you can catch it on the pod. So thank you very much for tuning in for this half. Video games, Taylor, start us off.
Okay, well, I'm going to start off with the top.
Okay. Like, you mean like the top, like most important, or the top
of my list?
Oh.
Like physically the top.
Okay. I never know, because sometimes you just literally start like 3 pages and like, oh, and then I have this note, and it's like, what the fuck? Why do you have the Bible? Like, what? Like, tell me what's happening. Why do you have the Bible?
Well,
why'd you say oof?
Oof. Assassin's Creed. You know, we talk about Geeks Creed, but you know,
great
Geeks
movie.
Creed, we don't get to talk about like these guys' opinions all the time. You know,
True.
It's been a while, and yeah, you know, we played that cinematic in 1.25 speed.
I think it was 1.5.
1.5.
I thought about the 1.25 and I was like, not quite. It's actually a good idea. I would recommend watching that trailer in 1.5 because it turns the guy's dialogue into like
a rap song.
It's like he has really good rhythm and really good beats.
He could win a lot of VMAs at the in the hip-hop
VMAs
category.
In the hip-hop category.
He could. But yeah, from that cinematic, like, how do you guys feel? I know you guys haven't looked at gameplay or anything, but...
Well, I've said this from the beginning. I love Egypt and like the art that is Egypt and the landscape of it. So...
And the people.
Great people.
The
gods, the people with the bird heads and stuff. So, I mean, I thought it was a great cinematic in terms of like visually. I love the look of it. I don't know what the guy was saying. I was more focusing on the fact that it was funny. He was speaking so fast. And I mean, I always like to see gameplay, and I didn't get to see any of that. But I don't know. I thought it was a good cinematic trailer for sure.
Yeah, I'm still up in the air because when October, November, I got a 3-way as far as Battlefront 2, which I know we'll talk about in a bit. But Battlefront 2, because all the improvements, I'm a big Star Wars buff. We have a fucking show about that. You can check the news episode out. Cantina Conversation. Talk about the Star Wars spin-offs and their universe. But like, so I'm pretty sure that's a shoe-in for me to buy unless like it reviews pretty poorly. And then it's kind of between Assassin's Creed, Shadow of War. Shadow of War, I'm waiting to see just because there's some nice voice crack that I'm waiting to see because there's just been some stuff that's kind of, you know, they explained away the microtransactions, but there's just ever since E3, it's never felt like the last game. It's like, oh, this just feels like a smooth video game. Like, this feels like they're trying to make it a big thing, and okay, like there's apparently, I don't know if it's a rumor or confirmed, but apparently the marketing, they've spent the most they ever have on a Warner Brothers game, so even more than the Batman games, and I'm just like,
wow.
Okay, you know, like,
really?
Sure,
wow.
Go ahead, do that to a game that doesn't have Lord of the Rings in the title. I'm looking very forward to it. I'm in a weird place in my life right now where I've considered not buying games like release day for most of them because with PlayStation Plus, I'm so far behind, and I'm playing like Marvel Heroes Omega, which is free, which Kirk Landale never download, never play with me, so I'm just alone playing my game. But like, I'm playing that, and that's lots of fun. I'm playing Gwent.
Thanks for tuning in, Batman.
See you up next time. I'm playing Gwent, and I'm playing and I got Batman Telltale, and then I'm actually like thinking about like I really want to play like Marvel Sunshine. I was thinking about the other day, and play Star Fox. So and I have PlayStation Plus. I got Until Dawn. I got Just Cause 3, and I want to jump into that. And so I don't know if I'm actually going to be buying too many games this year. Next year is the big one with Spider-Man and Red Dead. Spider-Man and Detroit. Those 3 games.
Detroit comes out next year?
Yeah, all I've said is 2018.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. So
Cool.
that's where I might actually wait on Star Wars. I think I will get, but I don't know. Star Wars, I might just go over to your place and play for a bit and stream it. You know, like it looks really fun, but I just don't know when I know I have a lot of games next year. I have said Assassin's Creed, I'm close, and it might be a game that I even pick up next year and it's a bit cheaper. It looks very cool. It's a game that I would wait to hear other people talk about. Dylan said, "Oh, like I'm a big fan of YouTube as well." That's like, as a kid watching Brendan Fraser's Mummy had me hooked. You know, like so. It's if I buy a game this year, it has a potential, but it's nothing against Assassin's Creed. It's just like, oh, I might be taking a break from some games just because I want to catch up on other games. Like, and I still want 100% The Witcher. You know, like that sounds like a big task, but it's just like I love The Witcher. I've been playing it again. It's just like it's hard for me to be like, oh, I'm gonna go buy another $80 game, and I'm like, oh, I still gotta finish Zelda. You know, like I get back into that a little bit. Like
So many games.
So far,
they take so much time.
Yeah, from what I see, it looks great, and I really hope they have big success. I hope they had a 2-year break. I hope it comes out, and I hope people are talking about for like Game of the Year, and it's a good kick in the ass for it. And because if it's that good, I might, just because the setting, I might be inclined like, I don't need this game, but I kind of want to get. And like Horizon DLC's coming out, you know, so it's like it's not a thing against the game. It's just a thing of like there's so much to pick from. It's kind of tough, you know. It's just the same thing that happens with movies sometimes. I would have loved seeing Logan Lucky. I've just been busy. It's like I might not get a chance to see it in theater, you know. It's just because like life takes a hold. But it looks good. That trailer was good. I hope it.
What's our release date on the game then?
Is it October 16th or something?
October, yeah.
It comes out the same day as Odyssey. I'm pretty sure
really?
it's something else. Yeah,
That's
but
not...
different audiences though, right? You think?
Well, I'm probably gonna get Odyssey instead.
It's no Battlefield.
Even though I don't own a Switch
Titanfall. Like same.
Yeah, I agree. I think you'll have your fans because you also I think there will be some people that will still not have a Switch, right? Like myself, if I had to pick, I would easily get Mario Odyssey, but I'm not gonna buy a Switch right now because I don't have time for it. So if I would, I'd get Assassin's Creed. But I think they'll both do well. We live in a world where Crash was number 1 and 2 months in a row. So I honestly think people don't put enough stock into critics. I think this one has a lot to do with word of mouth with Assassin's Creed. I think if it is getting a lot of like 8.5 to 10s in those range, and people are saying, "Oh, this feels like old but new." But I think if it sits in that like 7 to 8, where it's like, "Oh, it's just another good addition," I think people will be like, "Oh, I'll get that later." You know, it's the same reason I wasn't gonna buy Breath of the Wild for Zelda, but because the reviews like, well, I want to try it out. I want to have that water cooler moment where people like I talk about with Ruben, you know, like why I like it, and why we compared. So
that is one thing for me. Like I really want to get this Assassin's Creed just so I can talk to you and Ruben about it, and you know, be part of the review and offer a perspective of someone who hasn't really played the previous games. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get Horizon DLC. Dishonored 2 DLC comes out in September, I think.
And you're planning on getting Are you officially planning for it?
I do really want to get a Switch. How
easy are they to come by in Cologne? I guess
I feel like every time I go to EB Games, there is a couple there.
Oh, really? Apparently, like in America, it's quite harder to find sometimes. Like people say so.
I could be. They might just have it like for advertising purposes.
Just the you go, take this. They sell.
I've seen a couple of used ones pop up online though in town. Like people
selling a used one though.
I'm not a used kind of guy.
You don't know what they did to that screen, you know?
Yeah.
Those things get dinked pretty easily. So.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see what it does, and I actually don't think this fall, I don't think there's honestly that much. I feel like, okay, we got Wolfenstein coming out, right? And then you have obviously your Call of Duties, and you have Battlefront, and Assassin's Creed, and then what was the other one we were talking about? Oh, Shadow of War. But Shadow of War, I think, could go same thing either way.
I'm not getting that, and I'm not getting Battlefront, so I don't have those to worry about.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It just feels like it's like a smaller season. I'm actually going to, pull up, see what games I'll have. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. That's what I mean. Like, it feels like it's a good time for it to come out. I think next year they were smart too, because I think next year's a minefield just with PlayStation. Like, it's like God of War, Spider-Man, Detroit Human, like, and that's not even counting anything they made now outside of E3 or something like that. So yeah, I think it's I think it's set up for success. Now it's literally just about, is it a good game? You know, like it looks good. It took that break. Now they have to deliver on, okay, once people get it in their hands, or are they loving it, or is it just kind of like, meh, you know, you could skip it. And what are you feeling on the cinematic? Because you got our opinions. But...
Well, for me, and I won't go full on depth, I'll go much more in depth than Geeks Creed, obviously, but for me, I loved how it displayed different from the other cinematics. They had a serious the other ones were this time around it was very slow paced, and it felt like it incorporated a lot of stealth to it, and just kind of like a puppeteered kind of feeling.
Puppeteer.
Yeah,
Puppeteer.
puppeteer. Yeah, like when
Taylor loves being a puppeteer.
I do. When you have the three main characters like Cleopatra, you have Julius Caesar, and I can't remember the other guy's other guy's name. Tut.
King Tut.
We'll go with King Tut. Yeah. So it's just it was
Mr.
cool.
Tut to you.
Mr. Tut.
They call me Mr. Tut.
It was cool to see how like they're all famous rulers, but in the end, in the trailer, it displayed them as being kind of having strings pulled behind their back without them really being aware of it, and just a cool twist for a cinematic. So I'm very excited.
I like the one shot of like the landscape into it was like Cleopatra just kind of moving some tokens around.
Yeah.
I have the list of remaining. So I did forget a couple. Knack 2. You know, Knack 2 is going to be great.
Big.
Destiny 2, I forgot. That's going to be pretty... No, but that's going to be
It's
huge
gonna be
for their
huge,
audience.
but-
So I did forget about that. Like Dylan said, Dishonored. You got all your sports games coming out. Marvel vs. Capcom, which is apparently not reviewing the greatest though that well.
Really, it's
So
not.
lots of reception. I've kind of said it's poor, and like people say the story mode's really lame, which
that
is
sucks.
strange. But like we had Injustice that came out last year that apparently had a great story mode. Pokemon Gold and Silver, Metroid Samus Returns for 3DS, which is getting good reviews.
Yeah.
Pokken Tournament
By the way.
Deluxe for the Switch.
Tournament Deluxe.
FIFA, Total War, Warhammer. So that's just in September. October, Shadow of War, some Mario game, Forza, The Evil Within 2. I forgot about that. South Park. They're saying whatever the fracture but whole. Assassin's Creed Origins. Yeah, October 27th. I knew that was the case. Assassin's Creed Origins, Super Mario Odyssey, and Wolfenstein.
Wow.
That's the problem. I think with all of those, because I do think people will pick Wolfenstein over Assassin's Creed. They're very different genres. I just think Assassin's Creed has a lot of hype. That's Bethesda's big game this year. They're
Yeah, I
pumping
mean,
that out
those are all
like
different
crazy.
genres, but I feel like you're still going to have a lot of people crossover between.
It's the same when 3 different movies come out, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, they're different, but people are gonna pick. I could honestly still see those games being 1, 2, and 3. I'm not saying Assassin's Creed's gonna bomb. I'm just saying maybe they could have came out.
I mean,
like,
honestly,
the same
there's
week.
a chance I buy Odyssey and Assassin's Creed. Like,
Yeah.
Well, you got Assassin's Creed's really playing off the RPG open world like this time around. Then you got Wolfenstein's like the storyline shooter first person.
But
and
the
then-
problem of Assassin's Creed could have in that same month is if Shadow of War does review very well.
Yeah.
Because Shadow of War, I'm sorry, lots of people did say that was like the better Assassin's Creed. Like people were like, why didn't not Shadow of War, Shadow of Middle Earth. Like I love that game, and I probably if it reviews well, it's a day one for me. Shadow of War. I said that stuff, but like I loved the first game so much. That's the thing. If Shadow of War comes out and kills it, and then Assassin's Creed comes out and does really well, that's where it could take a dive because people might be like, oh, I was excited for Assassin's Creed, but that game's getting so much better reviewed. I'm going to go that way. November, obviously, Battlefront comes out. Call of Duty. Well, this is old. Crackdown 3 came out. Lucky's Tale for Xbox. There you go. My game that... Oh, see, this is different because I'll be buying it for me and Emily. Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. That's like a fun couples game, so that's why I don't really count that. But so it's more stacked. It's more stacked than I thought. Steep road to the Olympics. There you go, Kirkland. So it's more stacked than I thought. I think it's more like maybe Dylan was saying. There's games that not necessarily I'd be getting, but there's lots of games out there. That's one of my favorite things. Like movie box office like this when the NPDs. I did it again. The NPDs come out for the month and
Double D's.
for the summer. It was like what was Splatoon and Crash. That was 1 and 2. But it's like there wasn't much else out the past 2 months, so it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
This is when I like to see, okay, what's doing like really well. You know, like is Knack 2 gonna chart? We'll find out. You know, like hey, it's selling for what, 40, 30 bucks, so it could. Crash is getting that. So and there's apparently rumors that Crash might be coming to PC and Xbox too. So
Really?
yeah, I hope it does because keep selling that thing. Keep selling that. Bring me Spyro. Bring me, I don't know, something.
Twisted Metal.
Yeah,
Give me Twisted Metal.
one day.
I'd love to play some OG Twisted Metal.
They should do like a.
The thing is, I feel like that game might be garbage. Like I feel like it might not actually be good. It might be my nostalgia that
It might
builds
be
it
a
up.
Diddy Kong racing sort of scenario.
Oh, that's
you
so
know?
sad.
But you know, we still got to put that in the goal. I still want to see someone.
That game is so bad.
Yeah. What else do you have there for game news?
Well, we briefly mentioned it. Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Mhm.
Obviously, Gamescom dropped a space battles
Trailer.
trailer, cinematic, all that. And I'm one for the space battles, but they really
Are they one for you?
They are.
Nice.
They are totally one for me. But they've really taken a whole new twist and spin off onto space battles and that sort of game mode now. I mean, just watching some of the gameplay, like with starfighters, you have interceptors and your bombers, and it's just so cool to see the different classes you can customize your starfighters with, and even with hero ships too. It's not just you basically find the hero ship token on the map and you get it. But you get your hero ships and you can deck them out with your star cards and change like their abilities, weapons. Like you can really customize your hero vehicle and make it feel more unique into your own. And that being said, then we got.
Well, you don't just fly as Darth Vader.
Yeah, you do actually. It's his helmet. It's a giant version of his helmet.
Obviously, we saw Kylo Ren's TIE silencer briefly displayed there that you could.
Which is strange. It's going to be in the game before the movie comes out. I'm just gonna throw that out.
Well, it might come included with like their Last Jedi DLC they're gonna throw in. But then there's Slave 1, and then my personal favorites that they showcased were Darth Maul's Sith Infiltrator, or Scimitar, it's also called too. And then and that's cool because they like cloaks and stuff. And then they also showcase Yoda's Jedi Starfighter, which is even cooler. So I'm pretty excited for that. And just the way it looked, and just the way it looked like the players were kind of feeling out how to move throughout like space and stuff. Like it's totally just a whole new kind of twist and dynamic. And I'm so excited just to dive into that and get to experience it.
Yeah, no, that's another game like I say, oh, I don't want to buy too many new games, but when it comes out, reviews well, maybe like, I'll throw it down the $80. I think the biggest thing, we've talked about this many times, it's just they did a smart move by adding a bunch of new content, whether that was the story mode, whether it was all these ships, whether it was the prequel stuff. They could have done one of those and kind of sold them, but they've done a bunch of them, so I think they made a really smart move, and I think this game is going to sell, I think, just as well as the first one, maybe a little lower just because of the hype of Star Wars and whatnot, but I don't think it's going to be like a bomb, or like not even just like minorly successful. I think it'll still be very successful, but it's just, unless it reviews the story. I think it'll depend on the story mode too, if that's like a must play, so, but I think it's, for everything I see, it looks good.
Is this a day one for you? Because I thought you were very adamant about it, since you were like, if they drop story mode, then
I'm pretty much a day one. Like, I keep telling myself, like, oh, I want to finish these old games, but it's kind of tough. Like, I want to hear how good the story mode is, but, like, I am probably a 95% a day one, because I liked the first Battlefront. I got what I wanted from it already, and I like that they've added new characters. I like that they have the story. They've added space battles and everything like that. So they've added more, and that's all I wanted. So it probably will be a day. If I had anyone that I'm most confident on, it's that one, because I kind of know what I'm getting so far. Where Shadow of War could disappoint, Assassin's Creed I'm up in the air about. Where that one I know I'm probably going to pick at least one game this November, or this October, whatever, holiday season to buy. That one's probably the most highest up right now. And it's good because it's last, so I'll kind of get to see Shadow of War and Assassin's Creed, how they do. So
yeah, okay. How do you feel about that, Dylan?
Well, I'm probably not going to buy. You know what, actually, I was thinking about it in the last Battlefront, was just because it only had the multiplayer and it was fairly one note in terms of what you could do. That's why it didn't really come on my radar in terms of like, I'm going to buy this. But this one, just because there is like a single player and I don't know, there's other modes and stuff as well. There is a chance I buy it. I feel like it's very rare or very unlikely I'd get it day one. But I don't know, I think that trailer was pretty good. It displayed exactly what it was supposed to, the space battle aspect of it. I'm generally not as into the space battles, like, of any, like, flying game or whatever I've played. It's not really the kind of combat for me, but, yeah, we'll see. I do want to play it, like, either one of you guys get it, hang out and just leech off you guys and play a few rounds. Yeah, I doubt I'll buy it day one, though.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. This is something you probably will know a bit more because I didn't get a chance to look into it, but Friday the 13th, the DLC that's coming out, that free DLC.
Which one? Like the
new Jason's new map.
They're still working on that. My prediction is October 13th is when they're releasing the physical copy of the game. So I have a feeling they'll have a lot of content around then. So I know they've released, I think, they're still working on, I know the emotes are coming in, which I don't care about. I know they're cementing the non-kill rule right now and everything like that. So I think, because they've said there's going to be 2 new maps adjacent. I think they said 2 new counselors as well, something about that. I think they said, it sounds like one map might be made up and one map might be, they said, based on the movie or something to do with that, which they should. There's a map that should be in space, by the way. So I think that if we get content this year, it's going to be October time right before the physical release, because they can say, hey, you buy this, you can get all this stuff. I'm not sure if they've said it was free. So far, they've been updating the game for free and stuff, like little clothing here. Like, they just released, a summer pack, which I don't care. I don't buy clothes for my counselor. But, if you're into that, that's cool. People are still playing it. So, I think if we see anything, it'll be that time. I think that's smart to add another Jason into that because I don't think you're ever gonna release a Friday 13th 2 game. It's just like just put everything in this game, and even if it costs like I don't know, so like if a Jason costs like if there was like a pack of like you get a Jason and a map, so I'd be willing to pay like $5 or $10 if it's like worth the value. So. All depends, but they are working on a bunch more. So and those quick maps as well.
I was gonna say the quick maps. Do you know when those are coming out? Or
no,
that won't come out with this bulk DLC. I'm assuming they'll come out separately.
I think that could come first because they announced that first. Where the other stuff they just said we're working on. So maybe that just comes out for the 13th stuff, and the new content doesn't come out till the year later. The problem is they're still working on like they always have issues, and I think they officially got like a bigger team, but. Their servers. So I haven't had any server problems. I've been playing them a lot, but every once in a while, and they're always trying to find those pesky hacks and everything like that.
Pesky hacks?
Yeah, people going on roofs and can't get them. It's always pain. Ruined my kill death ratio.
Have you encountered that?
I had many times, but they got rid of right now. There's this popular hack right now where you can run off to the side of the map and just run through the islands, and you can't get them. So they've been pretty good about getting rid of that. But that's the thing. It's always like, oh, we're working on this stuff, and then something happens, and they go. Which I'm surprised you didn't have problems because people on Xbox are always talking about how much
I
they
had
have
people
problems.
going on the roofs and stuff, but I just
But server problems, I'm surprised. I think that was the word next. They're getting dedicated servers. That's what I heard.
Okay, the server problems. Like once I realized I could just join groups, it just totally the group system on Xbox was fantastic for this, and I think it totally just stripped away the whole issue of there being servers and spending like 40 minutes trying to get into a game.
Yeah.
Aside from the fact that Jason could see where you could tell Jason where the other people are. You could spectate Jason in private games, but I mean it didn't matter. People played fairly.
Yeah.
So, last bit of news that I got: Halo Wars 2. So mention this again. The Flood campaign DLC is coming out September 25th, I believe, and. I'm excited for that. It does not come with the Seasons Pass, which is unfortunate, but it is a very, very, very massive, large expansion to the game.
So wait, you bought a Seasons Pass for all the DLC, and they're putting this out, and then they say...
The Seasons... so each leader that you can get is $5, and so I've gotten 7 leaders, and I got an expanded campaign.
But either way, you bought a Seasons Pass...
And you don't get everything.
And you don't get everything that's added to the game.
No. I mean, you can kind of look at it. I think it was...
Xbox struggling.
Don't try to justify it.
That's they're hurting for cash, aren't they?
That is just scummy.
Yeah.
Unless they announced it when the game came out. But I find it unlikely that they did.
It's like buying a ticket
get the
for a
Seasons
movie.
Pass, but you don't get everything.
Yeah.
But you get something.
As I see a Mario movie, you bought a ticket.
You get the smaller things.
You bought a ticket, and then they sell a specific ticket for the Easter egg credit thing. Like, oh, you gotta just pay, $2 to see, Spider-Man pop up at the end. You're like, oh.
Think of it like this. When you buy a Seasons Pass for a sporting event, you get your Seasons tickets for the whole season, right?
Yeah.
When the year ends, you gotta get another Seasons Pass for the next season.
But the year isn't in. This is not
Yeah,
Halo
but
Wars
the-
3.
It's hitting the 1 year mark. So
Yes,
the season
but
is
no,
over.
but
this is...
But the name Seasons Pass for video games, that's not... It doesn't mean the same
actual
thing.
seasons. There's Seasons Pass we buy, and they're still doing content for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that doesn't work. It's not an actual season.
Well, I tried.
I feel like if I was you, I'd be kind of mad. I don't know why you're like, oh, it's okay. I'm okay to pay more money.
I'm mad,
Stockholm
but
syndrome over here.
at the same time, it is a large, massive update. And with my Seasons Pass, I already got an extended campaign. I already got tons of new leaders. I got my Seasons Pass content, and my Seasons Pass came with the game. I paid a couple extra bucks, and it came with that and a bunch of extra in-game content. So I'm totally fine with that.
How much was the Seasons Pass?
I think it's like $30.
And how much is the DLC?
DLC, each leader is $5.
No,
this
the
expansion
big update.
pack.
The big update.
Oh, for
The Flood update.
The Flood update?
$30-$40?
It won't be 40. I think it's around 20 to $30. I think. I don't know.
Let's put it this way: if you got to pick one, you get to take this Flood DLC, or you get those few leaders and an extended campaign. What would you have rather had?
I would really want the Flood, but I love the leaders that I got.
I knew you would say that. Are you buying this Flood package?
I am buying it. Yeah, I have to.
And that's why they do it, because suckers like you, who they brainwashed.
Like me.
Nice. Got a Seasons Pass, you didn't get all the DLC. Wow, that's almost as bad as not tipping the pizza person.
Well, now I'm gonna get
She
hate
deserved
mail.
She
did,
Hate mail. Is that all your gaming news?
I had I forgot to mention there was a new trailer at a Gamescom for Shadows of War. I forgot to mention that. It was like a Monsters of Mordor trailer. It looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys actually did see it beforehand.
I don't watch trailers anymore unless I
I
have
think
to.
I did actually, but I don't remember.
Okay, that's how bad it was.
Well, let's not go that far.
We didn't talk about it on cast. They announced a Planet of the Apes game that's coming out in November, which is pretty much like Telltale. It's like choose your own adventure. You can play as the apes, you can play as a human, be a good human, be a bad human, etc., etc. This is a game that I'm excited for. I don't know if I'll be purchasing it right away, but I'm in the experience right now. Batman Telltale's happening. They're knocking it out of the park again with Season 2. So if this is the same thing, they did say it's going to be a shorter game, so it's also to do with pricing. But I think that's cool. I think like Dylan's about to bring it up, but like I would have much rather love like a Horizon Zero Dawn game where it's like a full-on campaign. But you never know. Something like this, if it's successful,
foot in the door,
they might be like, oh well, there's there's money in a Planet of the Apes gaming franchise. Let's try it out. So I'm interested to see what it does.
It's supposed to be set between number 2 and 3, isn't it?
Dawn and War,
it's been I remember that golden age when movies came out. We got games based off the movies.
That was not a golden age. That was a dark age. Because majority, other than Spider-Man 2, all those games fucking sucked.
Yeah, it's true. I can't think of one.
Yeah.
Either. You know that you're gonna hate me for this, but you know what? That Transformers Dark Side of the Moon game was fantastic.
No, the movies weren't, so I don't believe you.
It's a good album. I was listening to it yesterday.
Yeah?
But
the Transformers soundtrack.
No way.
Dylan, what do you think about this Planet of the Apes fan? You're a big fan. I think it's is that your favorite movie right now?
It's in the top tier with 2 other movies.
Mm-hmm. So you're on the Planet of the Apes high. Are you gonna be spending any more Planet of the Apes money?
Well, I haven't played any of the Telltale games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I haven't. I think the main thing is I really don't like the art style that they have in those games.
Yeah.
It's obviously it is more minimal, but
it's cheap.
It's very cheap and they just look. It just doesn't look good. And I think for a experience that's essentially only story driven, if that's the kind of mood I'm in, where it's I'm just kicking back and relaxing and watching it, I think that's the kind of thing where I'd want the graphics to be really outstanding, so it is an interactive movie. But I really don't have a good reason for not. It's probably because I just don't really care about The Walking Dead. I would try the Batman and the Guardians one, but it's just so low on my priority list. This Planet of the Apes game, it's unlikely I will get it unless I find it on a sale for very cheap. Because I think the Planet of the Apes movies are good, but it's not a series or franchise that I love or anything. I just think the last 2 movies have been really good, or I guess all 3 of them.
Have you seen the originals though?
No, I haven't. That's why. So I don't have a huge
retrospective one day.
I do want to watch them at some point, but for now it's just these movies. They're just good movies in and of themselves, I guess. I guess my initial reaction, of course, is disappointment because I think there is potential for a really expansive game, and I think a really good game there's potential there for. But I was just thinking about this is a good foot in the door opportunity. If people really like this, they could maybe some company will say, "Oh, this is a good idea. Maybe we'll do an actual full on experience." And I don't know. Maybe
same
that'll
company
happen
that did the animation for the movie as well did the game.
That's cool.
Yeah. So quality at least won't get no Telltale.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe this is my chance to jump into the Telltale series. Who knows?
Yeah.
But right now,
this could also be a game that comes out and it's 20 and 30 on Metacritic, and which is it's not that good. It's super short. It's a game that I think could come out and just be a far in the wind and be really lame. Lots of stuff happens. Taylor?
Planet of the Apes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Unless you sent me your thoughts through the mind. I didn't
it didn't work though. No, I'm excited for it. I love Telltale games. I love The Walking Dead one a lot. I didn't expect to because, like you, it's the graphic style kind of deterred me.
What other Telltale ones have you played?
Jurassic Park.
Minecraft.
Not Minecraft.
So just 2.
There's a Jurassic Park one.
There is a Jurassic Park one.
There's a Game of Thrones one, which I'm gonna play because I got it on PSN for free.
I want to try that one. I have the first. I don't know if it's I think it's episode of Batman I got for free. I haven't tried that one yet, but I really want to.
You'll get hooked.
But yeah, Jurassic Park is definitely my favorite of all of them. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a hidden gem, I might add.
You fucking love dinosaurs, man. I wish I still love dinosaurs as much as I did as a kid.
Gonna be, Oh yeah, Planet of the Apes. I mean, I'm sold. I mean, I love that monkey madness stuff. And,
Monkey madness.
I mean, the movie just had me at hello, and so I'm going to just have me at hello.
Isn't that an Adele song?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, it's also a line.
It is a line.
Movie.
I'm.
Yeah, people don't really feel the same way as you do as Jurassic Park. It's actually one of Telltale's worst reviewed.
I know, but I love that game. I'll do. You looked it up.
Oh yeah, because just when you say it's a hidden gem, there's a reason it's hidden. Apparently, it's not a gem.
Nice.
Oh no, I'm excited for it.
Okay, we happy for you. They announced April 13th, 2018. That's a long fucking ways away. The reason I'm bringing this up is because for the longest time, just made it sound like it was Microsoft exclusive. It's coming. Well, it was coming to PC, but it's coming to PlayStation 4 as well. So I don't know what the deal was with that. I don't know if it was going to be a timed exclusive, and then it took so long to come out. It's like, your time's up, motherfucker. But I'm happy. I've heard mixed things from, because it was, I think, in early access for a while, and you never know what those games, they just get lost in limbo, and sometimes games
They take the money and run.
Well, yeah, and sometimes games that have this big hype just die. It's a game. Come time next April, who knows if I'll even give a fuck about, but I still really like that demo they showed at E3, so I'm happy with that. I'm happy it's on PS4, so maybe I'll check it out if it's good, so I want to shout that out.
Cool.
We're gonna, like I said, next newscast, I'm going to try and get a bunch of us so we can do a big bread and butter. I listened to a podcast we did, it was our 4th or 5th episode, where we debate about the future Nintendo and their past, what they could do to change it. We're going to do a similar one on Xbox and look at everything in a non-joking, hyperbole way. But this is to bring up my last news thing, because we haven't been on the air. Canceled.
We're canceling the show.
Hey, they canceled Scalebound, not telling me about Crackdown.
Nerdverse bought us out.
Yeah,
We're
good deals though. Good, we're all buying a bunch of Telltale games. So yeah, it's. I think they said. Do you remember if there was a date as far as 2018? For some reason, I'm thinking. I'll look. Well, I guess
I thought it was
for what? I thought it was March 2018 Crackdown. Talking about Crackdown got delayed. I'll put it while I look it up. My first 2 cents are just. I think it's really unfortunate. It makes sense because from if they're doing what we think they're doing, when we saw it at E3, I don't think anybody was that high on it. From just not even us, just the general population, was just that's Crackdown. That's been being worked on for the past 3 to 4 years. And this is supposed to be the Xbox One X launch. And that's the other thing. Xbox One X has sold out their pre-orders, but that to me doesn't really matter once we talk about, because it's gonna be if the more people adopt it. The people little Jimmy. If he goes and he buys, that's where I think it's a hard course right now, and I think this would have been a good game to even just help to have something alongside. It sucks that it's not happening, and it's just kind of thing. Even next year, I'm sorry Taylor, we'll talk about, but it's just even then you have that, you have State of Decay 2, you have Sea of Thieves. These are games that are, look like they have some potential, but they have they just don't have any. They already didn't have any momentum after E3. Gamescom, apparently, the conference was alright, but apparently it was just a retread of E3 and nothing special happened. It just feels like they're just kind of, not even losing momentum, they're just coasting. It just feels like it's so weird when we talked about, Nintendo, when I said I listened to this cast 2 years ago, that, we were talking about them being in the third of the bottom. You look at PlayStation with these great, amazing, exclusive games, and they're changing, they're really building a fan base, and you have Nintendo who's doing something really weird and really different with this console, but it's working. And now it has really shifted to Xbox. If Switch keeps selling the way it does, it could eventually outsell Xbox One. I think it's really unfortunate. Like I said, of course we have the fun little rivalry, but I don't know. I have some more thoughts when I say it for when we do that big discussion. But as far as Crackdown, I think it's smart if they're going to make it look a bit better, because it looked like a very old game. It looked very basic. It looked like a game where you have things like a Horizon out right now, where it's and a Zelda, and this is what your answer is. This is their next exclusive, and you're this doesn't seem right. So I'll try and find what I'm looking. But yeah, for me, it's unfortunate, but it's just kind of the way things have been going with Xbox recently. It's just not par for the course.
To put all your eggs in one basket with Crackdown, that's not a wise move. When you're dropping games like a new Gears of War, a new Halo out, that's going to get the popularity up for sure.
And those didn't even sell, Those sold lower than the other ones.
They didn't, that's for sure. But at least it was a step in the right direction, and that bought them a little bit of time. But now that time is it's used up, and I think they spent a lot of their resources on just pumping out this new console. Which, granted, it's an amazing console. It's definitely one of the top consoles out there right now. But you need games to go with it.
Spring 2018. So no official date. So spring. So something that's kind of fun that they could play with. Like, oh, the spring, like, you know, August.
Okay. To have
spring into fall.
I don't know where you were going with that one.
Well, it's every time I hear
spring.
When you just see like a season in 2018, you're just like, okay, sure, spring 2018, but they could push that and be like, oh yeah,
classic
summer.
Nintendo with the Japanese summer, which is like 3 months after ours apparently.
Yeah.
To be putting out a console that you're claiming to be the most powerful on the market right now, and to
teraflops on teraflops on teraflops.
To visually amazing your console is, then what's the point? I mean, granted, you're taking your old games you already released and you're giving them graphical updates to work with this Xbox One X. But, you know, at the end of the day, Crackdown alone, when that comes out, graphically, it's not appealing. And it's not something that I personally would want to showcase on a brand new console that you claim to be the most powerful one on the market. Now,
what do you showcase, though, now?
Now, I mean, I would be looking at games, like, I'd even put a third-party game on there. I mean, ideally, you want an exclusive. And it's unfortunate that Anthem wasn't nailed as an exclusive because Xbox got to unveil.
No, I don't mean in the coming years. I mean like this fall when it launches. What do you use as that game? That's the problem. Crackdown was gonna be there, or at least like, hey, along with Xbox One X, this exclusive came out. They don't
like what's coming out this fall to.
Well, that's what I mean. There's like Lucky's Tales.
Yeah, there isn't any games. I mean, like and that's unfortunate. I mean, in the long run, I would throw up like Anthem, and I'd throw up that Metro game. Like those games were both like fantastic and beautiful games to showcase, and especially on your console. I mean, I feel like it would be perfect. But I mean, what's coming out? Like, the only thing visually right now, I mean, Assassin's Creed has that open world experience that you could really showcase. Other than that, I mean, Star Wars Battlefront again, and.
But they don't have the exclusives.
They don't.
The only one Assassin's Creed is they have a partnership with them. So
yeah, I mean it's
your dream world.
Yeah, it's my dream world, but I mean not the rest of the world doesn't share that dream with me.
Oh wow, that was
Yikes.
poetic. Dylan, what do you think about this?
Well, yeah, I have to agree with Taylor here. Like, they don't have anything to show, and that's really unfortunate. As for the game itself, yeah, obviously we were all kind of disappointed when we first saw it, but. I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. Crackdown, the first Crackdown is one of my favorite games of all time. It's 100% my top 15. I think it's just an incredibly unique game. The open world factor of it, and you play as like a super cop, and like it's just such a fun game. I went back and played it this year even, and it still holds up and is a lot of fun. And even honestly, graphically, it still holds up because it had like the cell shaded graphics to it. So since it was unique. And it did that like before Borderlands did, so it was kind of like the first game that I knew at least that really did that art style. That it still kind of holds up. So, yeah, I mean, personally, it doesn't matter much for me if it got delayed because I don't have the console to play it on anyway. But it is unfortunate because it is just a really unique experience. And even though I never did go play the second one, which is kind of bad of me considering I like the first one so much, I feel like it's a series that people should play. Because there's a lot of potential there. So I think it's really unfortunate, and I have more to say, but I'm gonna wait for our big bread and butter topic.
Yeah.
But as for Crackdown, I want to see what it's like when it comes out. Hopefully it's badass. Hopefully it's really good.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, that was another newscast in the bag.
I do have something I forgot on my original notes, and this is something that you'll probably want to jump on. Age of Empires 4 was announced.
It was.
Yes. Now, how do you feel about that?
I've never played Age of Empires.
I thought you were an Age of Empires fan.
Classic Taylor Field, this huge setup, like, oh, Dylan's gonna have something to say on this. So Age of Empires.
I think it's cool, and
happy for the fans.
Yeah, I mean they have like the HD remaster of the original coming out, so cool. I guess Age of Empires is back, but yeah, I've never played it, so I do think it's a cool game. Like everything I've ever seen or heard. And, you know, I have a lot of friends who would love that game, but I personally have never played it.
Has Tyler played it?
Maybe. Maybe has.
With that setup, it's like I never left. You know, Taylor Field hasn't grown as a person at all. You know?
Wow.
Well, Taylor, where can they find us online for the last time, too? We all see some pre-records up for the last time on this set. Dylan is moving, so we're
Yeah,
out of the basement.
It's been a long time. This is the original studio. At one point, before we had a camera, there was a bed exactly where we're sitting, and we would record in a corner because we didn't need space because we weren't filming ourselves. We all just had this bench, and we'd sit in a circle. You know, I kind of miss the circle vibe.
I do.
So someday when we have a sick studio and we can have like multiple camera angles,
100%.
we'll definitely be doing it.
I want the circle.
But yeah, we've done a lot. There's been a lot of our voices bouncing off the walls of this room. So.
It's gonna feel weird in a few weeks whenever we do the next cast from your place and not have this brick wall as the.
It's such a great.
It is. It actually is. It's such a great set.
The thing is, it works so well with this poster too.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate.
I think if we ever get a studio, we want a brick wall, but I want someone to paint the brick wall like this, so we'll just still have it there. You know.
Green screen.
Yeah, exactly. Green screen the wall. So Taylor. Where can they find? They can go back and look at all the other past brick wall casts. So you'll see it around a little bit in a few pre-recorded ones, but
we'll do a throwback. We'll do a 10-year anniversary.
You'll come and crash even if your parents.
If my parents don't live
here,
I'll break in.
So sad. This family's tied up, scared out of their life like in Saw, and here we are. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 800th episode. Yeah.
Help us.
Hey, you guys are Age of Empire fans, right?
Maybe we shouldn't live stream that one. That could go off the rails real quick.
They see us get shot on air. Then Jessica really will be a ghost.
Wow. She never left.
Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen out there in the GeekVerse, yes, our last time here in this magical basement, so...
It's not like you lost your virginity or something.
I mean, I did, but...
Well, I meant Taylor. It was in the same day, you guys?
The fans don't know it doesn't hurt them, isn't that what you said one time?
I never said that.
Wow. Real shame.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, you know, with that internet connection.
I feel like you've taken that completely out of context.
I'm out of water, so make it quick.
Yeah,
well, with that internet connection and your phones, if you have data, you know, we're data worthy. So, you know, you go and you type in and you want to be like, you know, Facebook. And on Facebook, in the search bar, you like, GeekVerse Space Podcast. And when you do that, you find all of us.
Yep.
And we're just talking about great stuff. You know, we got the retrospectives about Saw.
We're talking about great stuff.
We got Cantina conversations. We are. Like, and we got the gauntlet. That 6-way gauntlet match. You know, that is like as far as the 6-way goes in Smash.
Out of all the 6-ways Taylor's ever had,
Yeah.
that's his favorite. That's his no, that's not even his favorite. It's in his top 5 at least.
Oh, that's great. That's good.
Yeah, check out the 6-way gauntlet match. And go to geekversepodcast.com. We have a lot of good stuff in the past, a lot of good stuff coming up. Yeah, like you mentioned, Saw retrospective. The next episode will be coming out in, I think, next week, the week after it. And then we got a bunch of stuff. Geek Mania is coming in October. It's our season finale. We're going to have a bunch of the biggest matches. There's some good stuff cooking. So if you like video games, you like seeing us play video games, there's some good matches hopefully lined up. We're trying to work up. And then, yeah, It reviews next week. And then for October, November, we got a lot of stuff coming up. We got Jigsaw. We got Thor and Justice League. I'm sure we'll be dropping video game reviews. So lots of good stuff. Thank you very much for tuning in to the 145th episode of the GeekVerse podcast. We'll see you next week, and I promise you it'll not be boring.
Have a great day and a better tomorrow.
Ooh. We all have to have, like, outros, so then we can just, like, have this long sentence.
Yeah. We can eventually just...